I personally can't force it. I think people who are geniuses, maybe, you know, it's at their disposal at all times. But I'm absolutely confident that I'll never not be able to find something inspiring once I decide I would like something, inspiring. You know, it just comes. It happens to everybody in those things that they do that are creative. If you stick with it. So Joe and I, we chose something when we were young, very innocently. I mean, you know, and we just never let up because we have great interest. And that interest in and of itself attracts inspiration, so to speak. And if you see anything special in us, it's the same thing that's special in anybody when they're engaging in something where their authentic creative personality comes through. You can hear that when you listen to any of your heroes, any of the music that you really love, any of the design, any of the food that you eat, any of the things that feel inspired to you. They came from somebody or a collective that was resonating with a good idea. You know, they just had a great idea, and most of the time, if those people are like us, in that they found an interest and they just never let up, there was just never anything that had more of a pull. It never pulled us away. Maybe a little bit, you know, we want to do art. I like playing with architecture programs, you know, and that's all nice, but, you know, it's just like we're going to go right back because it's just our interest. So there's no problem finding inspired ideas because they surround you at all times if you open yourself up to looking for them. I could write a song about the set list, you know, or anything really. And today there's so much more opportunity to receive inspiration because you go online and there's people that are destroying you. You know, the way you work on picking in my own little bedroom, and I'm getting pretty good, and oh wow, I do that. And then, you know, of course my ego says, I bet nobody's doing that. You know, you got something going here. By now you turn on, it's like, no, you're in kindergarten. So it's a great opportunity to learn.
Yes. Hi.
What's your favorite song to play and why? That's not yours.
My favorite song to play that's not mine. I don't think I have one favorite song. I honestly can't answer that question directly. My mind changes every moment as to what I feel like playing. And there's so many songs that are just so remarkable that they stick around for hundreds of years. Somebody asked me something similar in an interview the other day, and we were just talking about the effect of notes on people and how when you present your song to the public, they're going to interpret it any way they want. And I remember it jogged this memory of reading this very comprehensive book about Beethoven and how he loved making his audiences weep, and he would mock them openly because he knew that he was doing it on purpose, and he knew how to do it to elicit strong feelings from the audience. But because he was such an unusual character, he found it fascinating and a bit of he would sort of get off on the whole process, not be deep, making believe he was experiencing, let's say, the sadness that the audience felt for this piece of music. He would laugh as he would be getting people to cry. So I thought about that, how when you go to choose a music that you think is your favorite, how, you know, there's the experience of playing it, there's the experience of seeing the reaction to it, there's the experience of playing it over and over and over again. You know, the first time I heard Satisfaction by the Rolling Stones, it was being played by a cover band. And I was only about 5 years old or something like that, 6 years old. Every time I hear it, it sounds new to me. So there's something special about that song that always sounds fresh and new. I don't know if it's because I was this big the first time I heard it, and because of the surroundings and what was happening at that moment. And I don't know if it's because I'm a grown-up musician now and I can hear things about it that fascinate me. So I feel the same way when I go to play a song, that I realize I'm going to feel differently tomorrow about it. And so I think that's why I can't choose one, really. I don't know, do you have a favorite song to play?
Well, right now, I would say, because it changes, I would say it's probably The Sea of Emotion when
Yeah.
Joe and I are playing that song. It's a new territory because, first of all, it's a great piece of music. It's well constructed, and also it's musical. And also, I'm playing with somebody, I'm connecting with somebody, with something that I've done alone my whole life, which is play melodies, play harmonies. And of course, I've had guitar players in the band, and we commingle a little bit. But with Joe, it's different. You know, it's just different. There's that history. There's just, I know I have a foundation of solid performance underneath me or around me when I'm with him. I know it's going to be right, you know, or at least from him. But it's just a gas, you know, it's just so nice. It's odd that we're like in our 60s and we feel like kids when we're doing it. It really is. I feel, you know, it's just like, wow. It's like it's never too late to have a happy childhood. And I had a happy childhood.
Still going.
Still going. Still going. I think I psychologically froze at about 14.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm about 14.
It's a good age to freeze at. Yes. Yeah, all the way over there, yeah.
Thrilled to be here. Love the new song. I hope you guys put out some more.
Oh,
I think what I'm most curious about is what's next for each of you. Joe, I've read recently the Van Halen stuff, and curious to know about Chickenfoot and what's on the horizon. And Steve, I'd ask the same thing. What's next?
Yeah. Yeah, so I've been traveling around with this guitar tuned to the Hagar tour with different strings on it and going over the set list, and Sammy's changing it every day, you know. I was just communicating with Jason today about it. I'm very excited about doing all that stuff and you know, getting to play Chickenfoot and the Hagar stuff and the Montrose music again. And the Van Halen stuff I've loved for decades, but as you know, I've stated many times, I avoided learning it because I didn't want to rip it off, you know. And so now, now I've sort of made my bed and I've got to lie in it. Now I really do have to learn how we did half this stuff, and it's such a beautiful, exciting, and daunting task, really, to just put your fingers where someone else would have done it. That's totally different from your method. But we're really excited about the tour, and the set list is really cool. All good songs, all upbeat, all fun. I think that's what Van Halen was best at, you know. But we're planning stuff way into 25, so there's a lot that we can't talk about, but we will be talking about. But Steve, you can tell them about Beat.
yeah, it was actually announced today. The band I'm going to be touring with Adrian Belew, Tony Levin, and Danny Carey, the drummer.
All right.
And this was something that kind of we started kicking around before the pandemic. Adrian had called me, and you know, the first thing I thought was, well, what does Robert think about this? And luckily, it had his blessing. And then the second thing I thought was, I have to make sure I can play this stuff. This is a big boy game. I mean, Robert Fripp's like a scientist, you know. He studied and he developed a technique for picking that's, I think, relatively unique to him as far as my experience. So his musical mind also is just quite unique. And they had, so I'll try to remember chronologically. So then the pandemic came and we couldn't do anything. And then after, when everything was opening up, through the pandemic I had made Inviolate, and I was very eager to get on tour with that. And that was a big tour. So we slotted a beat tour for this fall. And that's what I've been working on, just going over the music and trying to figure out how I'm going to navigate this insanity. It's such beautiful music. We'll be performing the music from the 3 King Crimson records of the 80s, Beat, Discipline, and 3 of a Perfect Pair. Wow. And, and Adrian was in that band along with Tony, so Danny and I are kind of new. That's what I'm focusing on now, along with some of the things Joe and I are doing. And my 25 and 26 schedule is pretty slammed. It's pretty packed, and it's fun. A lot going on.
Yeah, it's great to work, huh? Yeah, hi.
They say that rock music has died. It's really not or fear, but it's not the same as it was before. Would you say that rock once died in order to resort to the forum and get back to the same
Oh, yeah. It's funny, you know. The styles don't die, you know. They're just less popular. You know, you really have to. If you're going to enter the music business, you have to get ready to accept the fact that every 3 years, the audience just changes channels. They just do. That's all there is to it. So, and don't take it personally. You know, you really, I think, are better off just doing what you love. But if you need to make a living as a musician, then you have to accept reality. You do. Just like when we were kids and we were in cover bands, you know, we're not going to put up a fuss because they want us to play Creedence Clearwater. They obviously were like one of the biggest bands ever, so that's going to be on the set list if you're playing at a wedding or a party or something like that. And I think that if you look at all the styles of music in the last 200 or 300 years, they're all still going. They're just less popular, you know. But they still build places like this for all those styles of music. I was looking at the upcoming events, and there's theater shows, there's jazz, there's all kinds of rock and blues. I mean, there's still an audience out there, but it's not the one that we're made aware of all the time, like pop is right now, or like hip hop was a little bit beforehand. And that'll fade. They won't die. You know, they'll just be less popular. So if you're like us, you just keep going. You don't really, it doesn't affect you. But like I said, if you're a working musician out there and you're trying to put food on the table, you have to accept it and learn how to play all the stuff that people want. You know, that's part of the gig, because we're supposed to make music for people. That's our job, right? So you don't complain, you just accept.
Yeah, I think Joe nailed it. I look at rock music as an energy of sorts, you know, that has guitars. And we all love great rock songs. I mean, if Neil Young comes on the radio and he's blasting away, that's a popular rock song. So the energy is there. And even in contemporary pop music, there's an energy there, you know. Rock has splintered. All these genres, as time goes on, it splinters into all sort of subsets. And in that case, rock music is still strong. It's very strong. I mean, it's just going to take that one person that comes along that has that rock energy in them, but is using contemporary tools and is creating something that's very accessible. It's like when Nirvana came out, you know, the instruments weren't different than the other bands, but the energy behind it and the connection of the melody and the chords and all this stuff. and the timing, because that band was perfectly timed for the 90s. But they also invented it in a sense. You know, bands that come along that, it's like, okay, so for instance, so I hear it said, well, instrumental music isn't so big anymore. You know, you guys are lucky because you released your music at a time that instrumental guitar music was popular. No, he made it popular.
That's right.
Because of the quality of the music. See, Joe came along with all of the elements in check for rock music in our genre to be accessible and exciting and uplifting, you know. It takes somebody, because before, there were periods of time before Joe hit the scene, where you get Jeff Beck, Blow by Blow. When Jeff started releasing instrumental guitar music was not popular. He made it popular because of the quality and the uniqueness. And then, you know, that kind of, as Joe says, it fade away a little bit, and offshoots come from it. And God, the offshoots from Jeff Beck, I'm one of them, you know. And but it always will take that one person that just has an inspired vision to start cranking stuff out that then creates the momentum of an accessible genre.